How you doing, folks? Welcome to our dream garden. This garden is 104 feet by 54 feet, if I remember right. And we're pretty pleased with the way the gardening season has been progressing this year, although it started really slow with all the rain that we had, but it's picked up a lot. And we're going to do a bit of harvesting today with my wife and have a fun time in the garden. My wife and I have been dreaming of a big, beautiful garden probably for a couple decades now. And we've always been city people growing up, getting married, having a good job, getting a better job. You know, we've always been trying to improve our life somehow. And now, 4 years ago, we got this farm, and it was time to start fulfilling this gardening dream. It was summer of 2021 that I started building this garden, so we're 4 years in. Because we have regular guests at the farm, I wanted to make sure that we segregated off a special area just for the garden. So I was building this fence, and it's really just a pressure-treated fence, nothing fancy, with a 1x1 wire attached to it. I just stapled them all and made it as efficient and simple as I could, but also keeping it aesthetically nice to look at. The garden was also a good way to keep some wildlife out, like wild rabbits. They're not going to climb the fence. And also our own dog, because dogs will just step all over your growing veggies. While building this gate, we wanted to have, a nice grand entranceway, so I worked on this gate. It's fairly simple, I suppose, but it really stands out and makes a really nice entrance to the garden, so I'm very happy with the way it turned out. We started out that first year basically tilling up all the soil because this is just a brand new, from scratch garden, and we thought we should till it all, try to get rid of some of the grass and the weeds, and get everything prepped for the following spring so that we'll be ready to go and start our planting. So because it was going to be our first gardening season at the farm, we sowed a whole bunch of vegetables inside the house, and we did that about February, March, so that everything will be ready to plant come May. Third week of May is when we can plant everything outdoors, because we're zone 5B and that's past the last frost date. We got everything transplanted. We also planted a whole bunch of seeds, and guess what? It was an utter disaster. It was a matter of few weeks after planting everything, and the grass and the weeds took over all of the freshly tilled beds that I had made, and it didn't even look like there was any gardening beds anymore. It was just all grass, all weeds, all wild. We had this artemisia that had taken over everywhere. It was just a complete disappointment and a failure, and we basically abandoned the garden for that year. I see you guys. I know you all want out. Okay? I know it. I know it. Here you go. Here you go. You're out. Hello, hens. How are you guys? Doing okay? The following year, we were still excited to get this started, but we had thought we would do something a little bit differently, and we decided to go with a raised bed system. In order to help combat the weeds and the grasses, we did lay down a bunch of cardboard. I think it really helps. It biodegrades into the soil and encourages worm activity, so I don't know, I think it's okay. And also using some geotextile, which is kind of like a landscape fabric. It's not really a fabric, although it's called fabric. It's more like a polypropylene tarp. It's like made out of plastic, so it is quite durable. It is going to last for several years, if not decades. And it's just been a little bit of a chore to actually get the beds built, get all of the geotextile down and secure. But at the same time, we also knew that we can't spend $20,000 building our dream garden in one shot, so we just did it incrementally, We bought a bunch of wood from the hardware store, and we started building these very simplified raised beds. They're 12 inches deep, with the understanding that if we choose to, we can actually raise them up higher in future years as we get some more money for some more wood. So because we were starting off with this new raised bed system, we obviously had to bring in some fresh soil. So we had a dump truck come in and bring, I think it was 25 yards of triple mix garden soil. We needed to start fresh because we didn't really have all of this soil. So after building a few beds, we also purchased some galvanized raised beds. These are like 30 inches tall, 6 feet long, and we got them from a Canadian supplier, so they're made with Canadian steel, and we really like that. They weren't too expensive, but I like the height of them because it makes your gardening so much more enjoyable when you don't have to bend over and squat. With these 30-inch tall galvanized steel beds, obviously it would cost a lot of money to get really good garden soil and fill it all the way from the bottom to the top. So what we did is a hugelkultur style, where you put a whole bunch of rotting logs and wood and branches all in the bottom, and really you just put good soil, maybe 14 inches, 18 inches from the top. And we mixed a whole bunch of wood chips in there, and we mixed a whole bunch of composted leaves, just to try to encourage some long-term soil amendment in there. But we grew as much as we could that year. It wasn't a huge harvest, but it was somewhat successful, a lot more successful than the previous year. This is the third year that we've been trying to grow corn. 2 years being unsuccessful. It's not all rainbows and unicorns when it comes to the corn. Looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's just small.
Small only.
The rest of it's not really developed yet.
Oh my.
But it's so clean.
Yeah.
It's got the bicolor, which is the peaches and cream, or it could be a bicolor sweet corn. It's very small though. We got to try to get whatever corn we can, because as you can see, like right there, something's been eating the corn. So we're trying to get them as they are ready to harvest. There's a lot of corn here that doesn't have any ears of corn. Like this one, there's nothing there. So, I mean, it is what it is. Some of them still have time to grow. Like there's an ear just starting here. You can see the silk is just still moist. So that's not ready. All of these ones are not ready yet. You can see this one, the silks on the top are all dried out. And that's how you know that it's supposed to be ready to pick. But it's awfully small. Look at it. It's only the size of my finger. Little baby corn. So far, we have underdeveloped corn, and the size is really small, really tiny. I mean, there could be a lot of reasons why the corn is not really that great, not robust, small little cobs, and the soil, might need amending. We need to continue working on adding whatever we need to. I think corn uses a lot of nitrogen, so we need to really jam it up with nitrogen. But this one's not horrible, it's just not very big. But each individual kernel looks great. Looks nice and plump and sweet. This one looks good too, but it's just short. Like, what is it, like 3 inches long? There's my darling with her stash of corn. You can see the happy face, but this is all she's got. That seems to be the best one. But what can you do? Live and learn. It's our third year growing corn, At least we got a little bit of a stash. There's still more to come. Let's cross our fingers. And next year will be a better year with all the stuff that we've learned again this year. Billy! You having fun, eh, Billy? Bobby! How you doing, Bobby? Bobby, nose bump? Good boy. Good boy. You okay, Billy? You okay, Mama? You okay? I see your teeth. I see your teeth. I see ya. Back to this wall of vegetable right here. This is called ampalaya. It's also known as a bitter melon. So the bitter melon or ampalaya is this stuff. You may in fact see this at your local grocery stores. I don't know if there's big suppliers in Canada or the US who actually grow this stuff. It might come from Southeast Asia like the Philippines or Thailand or China, who knows. But my wife was very successful in growing this stuff this year. You can see this entire wall. It looks amazing. But this vegetable is very cool because it has two uses. One, obviously you get this vegetable and she makes a whole slew of different kind of Filipino dishes with this thing. But also, as you can see, what she's doing right now is she's harvesting the leaves. Now she doesn't make the plant bald, obviously. You need the leaves for it to grow, but she's plucking a whole bunch of the leaves. This is what they look like. See that? Basically, she blanches them, puts them in a boiling water, takes them out, put them in a nice bath, let them dry out, and then she simply Ziplocs them and puts them in the freezer. So she has a whole bunch of these things, but this is like salad. You use it in dishes. Two uses. Ampalaya is very cool. Oh, see, there's two more over here. 1, 2. It's so nice to have this whole wall filled up though, eh? Really nice.
You see, there's a big, very big one, you see.
Oh yeah, that one's huge. Is that ready to harvest? Mm-hmm. Nice. Nothing better than homegrown cherry tomatoes. Naturally sweet. You don't think of tomatoes as being sweet? There's Tango down there by the house. Tango! Look, she's running through the grass. There's her brother Mango. It's a happy family. How you doing, Fuzzy? Are you coming in the garden, buddy? Junk? You okay, bud? Junk? Oh, you hear something? Who's over there? You coming in? You coming in, Fuzzy? Come and say hi, bud. You too, Chunk? You okay, Chunk? Hey, buddy. Hey, guys. At least Chunk came to you too, like Dexter the other day.
Yeah.
But you got one pet in and then he took off.
Yeah. Chunky! 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 Chunky!
Fozzie, he always wants pets.
Oh, yeah.
One of the best decisions that we ever made regarding this garden is laying the geotextile landscape fabric, because it just makes the garden look neat and tidy. It looks organized without having all these weeds and grass growing everywhere. It's really about creating an enjoyable garden environment. You know, nobody wants to be pulling weeds and cutting grass all the time within the garden, right? But when you have a super busy lifestyle, like for example, my life right now extends to really long days, you know. I'm working and I'm doing YouTube, so you got to film, which takes hours. You have to do all the farm animals on a daily basis. Plus, if ever you're doing any kind of project on the farm, that takes all your weekends for sure. And then you got to edit all these videos, so, you know, I do not have time to be playing around with the weeds. So the absolute best thing we ever did was lay down this landscape fabric. Now we're nowhere near done with the landscape fabric. I want to do something in this area right here. This is like a bee pollinator garden, but it has a little bit too many weeds. I still have that patch to deal with. We have this little tiny patch to deal with. And the truth is, one of the mistakes that I made in the first year of setting up this raised bed system is that I made the beds and then I tried to put the landscape tarp after. But what I did this year in building these beds is I just laid a whole bunch of the landscape tarp and then I put the bed right on top. And that's a much better way. Where these galvanized raised beds are, there's 2 right here. I still have plans to put maybe 6 more in this area right here. But look at it. This is like, it's like a little miniature forest. So all of this needs to just get cut and then covered in a landscape tarp so that we don't have to deal with it. But that's the thing. Rather than spending 20 grand to build a garden, you spend a little bit and you fix it. And then you spend a little bit the following year and then you fix it. And right now we're 3 years into building this garden. This is how it looks. And we're fairly pleased. It's not level in some spots, but that's tolerable. You know, I'm the guy that's building everything. It's important that she is happy, because the worst thing is dreading the garden, you know? Like you don't want to wake up in the morning and say, "Oh, I got to go to the garden today and do some weeding." Because then it's like it becomes a chore and it's not enjoyable and you don't like it. So that's the main driving force behind all this black landscape tarp. So now, really, she has very minimal weeding to do. I want my darling to have her dream garden. And I mean, she likes to grow things and I like to eat things. That's no secret. So it's a win-win, perfect combination of loving teamwork. But I don't want her coming in here, spending 8 hours doing weeding. That's crazy. So that's why, with our busy lifestyle, this is the best choice we ever made. Chunk, Fuzzy, Olive, all loving on my darling. Fun times in the garden. But, oh yeah, so many, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Look at all the cherry tomatoes. There's tons. There's like hundreds and hundreds on this one plant. Oh, there's Chunk. He's just sitting there. Nice.
Oh my God, he's so cute.
So funny, Chunk. He's being a good boy. That is so big. That's like 18 inches long. Look at this beautiful eggplant. This is the most eggplant that we've ever been able to grow in our garden in all these 4 years on the farm. Hey, I'll play Kong with you after, okay? I'll play Kong with you after. We're harvesting the garden right now, right? You say thanks to Bruce and Kathy? So this stuff right here is called sitaw. And really, it's like a green bean, but it's like a long bean. And there's a lot of them that are growing right now. I mean, look at the one she's got in her hands there. Look at this. It's like 18 inches long. It's beautiful. But my darling thought, because of the slow start in the garden season this year, that she wasn't going to get any sitaw. But now it's growing profusely, really profusely. Look at it. Some of it's even up to the roof. We might get some hanging down from the top. It'll be really cool. See, she's plucking okra right now. My darling has gotten a lot of okra this year. Olive, why are you taking a poop in the garlic bed? You gotta go, eh? You gotta go real bad? Okay, that's okay. I'll clean it up. One of the things my darling did with the okra plants this year is she really trimmed off a lot of the leaves and pruned it down, trying to send more of the energy to the plant and to the flowers to give us this little bit of okra right here. And it seemed to have made a huge difference, because last year she didn't prune anything and we hardly got any okra, but they were big, huge, bushy plants with lots of leaves. So it's little things like that that we've been learning and adjusting along the way. This okra can't even fit in my hands. It's filling up the basket and falling out the edges. Beautiful cabbage this year. Beautiful. Gonna get some nice coleslaw tonight. This is all of our green beans, right? And I mean, we just harvested a whole bunch of this a couple weeks ago, and it's like it's so profuse again. Like it's really a lot. This keeps giving and giving, this plant. Look at it all. There's more beans growing and there's more flowers even. Here, can you just use this?
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't have any more baskets. Our baskets are too full. This is kale that she's harvesting right now. I don't particularly care for the kale, but she likes the kale. And here's Fozzie again. All of our tomatoes seem to be dying off. These tomatoes here are the San Marzano. We use them for the sauce. And some of them are turning red, but there's a lot still to come. So even though the plant seems to be dying off, we're hoping that these will get a little bit more ripe on the vine here. Because we have a lot more here of these ones are all beefsteak tomatoes, and they're not very big this year, but we do have some more of the San Marzano on this side. It's a lot still to come. Sometimes they fall on the ground, but still good. We can give this to the pigs or the chickens or something. But they're slowly getting ripened. Just need maybe a few more days, or maybe 6 or 7 days at the most. Now she's finished with the green beans and she's switched over to these chilies. Not sure what kind of chilies these are. These are just spicy chilies. And you use these as garnishes in your dishes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're adding these into the stir fry or what?
Yeah, I added.
You don't need like 6 plants because you're going to end up with too many chilies. This one looks like it's dying off already. Look at the leaves.
Yeah. Look at this.
But it still has some chilies on it. But these 2 plants still look amazing. I think this stuff doesn't like the frost though, eh? This cold weather in the morning. These things right here are more green beans, and my darling planted these as a succession. So those were the first beans that we grew, and then after we started seeing lots of growth, then she planted some more, and it looks to me like it's gonna grow enough that we're gonna actually get some veggies from it too. Fozzie found the catnip again. He found the catnip again, and he's all alone. He doesn't have to share it with Chunk or Dexter. He's going nuts on the catnip. It's okay, he deserves it. He's a good fella. Yeah, Fozzie's loving it. Look, he's rubbing his face in it. He's not just eating it, he's rubbing his face in it. Good for you, huh? Definitely gonna grow some more catnip. This was the first year that we've ever done catnip before, and we didn't know anything about how to grow it or what to do with it or how to use it. Fozzie obviously loves the catnip. Maybe it's a nice little treat for them. So maybe what we'll do is we'll grow like an entire bed filled with catnip next year, and we'll bring some in for the cats. We'll bring some to little Miss Bubbles inside the cat house there. And I don't know, maybe you dry them out and oh, look who it is. It's Chunk. I just heard him go, meow. He's so funny. But maybe we'll hang them kind of like the way you dry out onions or garlic, and you hang it and dry it out, and then you can turn it into a little flaky powder. And that's a way, obviously, when you buy catnip like at a store, it's always in a little flaky herb style, right? It's not big chunks of leaves. So, but we still have a little bit more to research and learn about it. But that'll be a cool thing to do for the cats, eh? But coming into this year, 2024, we did a whole bunch of new improvements in this garden. We added a few more of the wooden garden beds. I built a few more of the wooden garden beds, 7 new ones altogether, and that really complements all the beds that we built the previous 2 years. And it's really coming to the point that maybe another 2 years, maybe 3 years at the most, where we're going to actually finish all of the setup and layout of this garden, which basically will mean this garden took us 5 years to build. I also added that new trellis this year because my darling wanted to grow a bunch more of these Filipino upo squash and ampalaya and patola. Those are all Filipino type veggies. But this one trellis that we had in here wasn't enough. If we walk over here, let me show you this. My darling sowed some asparagus this year. This entire bed is filled with asparagus. Now, I think asparagus has a trick to it, like it takes 3 or 4 years before you can actually cut it and eat it. But this is the first year's growth, and this entire bed is just going to be asparagus moving forward. So, next couple years, hopefully we'll get some juicy, fresh, organic asparagus. So all in all, these past few years building this garden, her dream garden, really, it's been a great experience. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of hard work, yes, but after a while it doesn't become work. It becomes just an enjoyable hobby. And we're at the stage now where we kind of have a good idea of how to get the garden to produce. We kind of have an idea. Hold on. We kind of have an idea how to get the garden to produce, and we're finding little individual microclimates in each of the beds too. So we find that maybe carrots work here, but they don't work over here, which is quite interesting when you think about it. Look at Olive sitting so pretty. Olive, you're being so good with your Kong, huh? I'll play with you in a minute, okay? Hold on. So this is today's haul. It's a pretty good haul. This is cabbage in the bottom, and then it's a bunch of onions on top. We're gonna clean these off and dry all these out. She's got a bunch of kale. She's got a bunch of the ampalaya leaves that she's gonna blanch. We have a bunch of tomatoes that she's gonna save to make pasta sauce. And she has that big, huge basket of goodies. Most of that is gonna be eaten fresh, but those okra, those ampalaya, and that upo is probably gonna be blanched and put into the freezer so that she has a nice flow of vegetables coming into the winter. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the video. I think it was a nice recap of how we built the garden. And of course, running a YouTube channel, you're constantly striving for success, striving for better stories, better videos. And I'm doing that as best as I can. And I know that we're gaining subscribers and growing viewers literally by the day. So every once in a while, I like to do these recap summary videos that really encapsulates what we've been doing, so that maybe there's some new viewers that don't go back and watch all of our 700 videos. There are a lot of people that do. They comment on all the old videos, and I really appreciate that, because some of the old videos aren't as well made as some of the new videos, let's face it. It's been really fun though. I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed and you do believe that the Hidden Spring Farm is something that you'd be interested in. And of course, don't forget to pound that like. It's very important to like, drop a comment. All the comments, whether I reply or not, really helps to grow the channel. So it tells the YouTube algorithm that people are indeed interested, and that's what we want, because without you viewers, we wouldn't have a channel at all, right? Let's face it. So thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next episode, okay? You okay? I'm finished the video. We can play now. Here, where's your Kong? This way, go! She's got it. She's always got it. She's got a good sniffer, this dog. Right, Olive? You got a good sniffer, right?